Hi, Paul Fox here, Director at the Yoga and Healthcare Alliance. It's my job to look after the Yoga for Health program, which is the 10-week course that we deliver to NHS patients. And together with Heather Mason, I run the teacher training program, the 5-day program. And this video just explains a little bit about the program and your expectations and the support that you will get if you choose to do the 5-day training with us. So we're going to begin by just having a look at the patient leaflet. So one way of thinking about this training is that if you are already a yoga teacher that is used to modifying postures and working with different health conditions, then you are ideal for this training. And you need to think of it as continuing professional development. It gives you a new skill, and that skill is the ability to deliver an evidence-based 10-week standardized protocol for NHS patients, which has the backing of the College of Medicine, Public Health England, and of course the Yoga and Healthcare Alliance, and also actually the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Yoga and Society. So when you've done the training, what is not going to happen is that you're not going to be employed by the NHS as a yoga teacher. I want to make that absolutely clear. So you will still operate as a sole trader or through your company if that's the way you do things. You will be responsible for setting up the classes, for liaising with your local healthcare professionals, often GP surgeries or a local hospital, to set up those classes for patients or for NHS staff. Or you might run these classes completely privately and simply advertise them as Yoga for Health classes. However, the intention of this program is that you work closely with the health professionals, and that's why we are putting so much energy and time into our national campaigning and national action, working with parliamentarians, policymakers, the College of Medicine, Public Health England, to get a kind of top-down support for this program as social prescribing rolls out in the NHS. As of January 2019, the new NHS long-term plan has a special and important place for social prescribing and creates and allocates resources to GPs and healthcare professionals to bring about social prescribing across the NHS. So let's just clarify that concept. Social prescribing is when a doctor, rather than prescribing treatment or medicines, will prescribe an activity which will be beneficial for that patient's health. So it could include activities like joining a choir or a walking group. It could include 3 months of gym membership. The Yoga for Health program is a wonderful program because it meets the needs of patients, but it also helps them on so many different levels, as we all know that yoga works in that way. So yoga will benefit those with stress and anxiety. It'll benefit people with musculoskeletal problems. It will help with people who are pre-cardiovascular, pre-type 2 diabetes, and it'll help people who are feeling socially isolated. Those are our 4 main referral criteria: stress and anxiety, pre-cardiovascular, pre-type 2 diabetes, and social isolation. Okay, so you've done the training, you're going to set up classes. So I just want to remind people that, if you went off and did a CPD course in teaching yoga to children, yoga, chair yoga, anything like that, it would be up to you to set up the classes absolutely on your own with probably not very much support. So we offer a very high level of support, and what we're doing is building a community of yoga teachers who are qualified and able to deliver the Yoga for Health protocol. And we don't take any additional money for that. Once you pay for the training, you are qualified. You will appear on the Yoga and Healthcare Alliance website in the area that we'll be creating for our qualified teachers, so you may get contacted that way as well. So here's some examples of the support we provide. This is the patient leaflet, the Yoga for Health leaflet. We can see it here. This is the front cover. Some of you may have seen this already. Um, Inside is some text describing who the program is for and what will take place. And on the back of this leaflet is details about how the program is created and how to join the program. And in this space here, we've left that deliberately. Now, I have little able label stickers done for myself with my name, contact details, email, etc. So you put your contact details here, and this leaflet goes in your local GP surgery or hospital. Ideally, it will sit on the consulting desks of all the GPs, so they will directly recommend the program, that's GP referral, but also this leaflet is intended to sit in the GP waiting room so that patients can self-refer. And that means that they will call you and you will discuss with them whether they are suitable for this program. So that's the patient leaflet. In February, we ran a fantastic conference, the first Yoga and Healthcare conference in the UK at Westminster University. It was supported by the College of Medicine, and if you weren't there, it was an astonishing event, including having this letter that was printed in the programme from Prince Charles supporting the use of yoga to tackle challenges to the NHS and long-term health conditions. I'm not going to go through it all, but we had some very important people speaking, with Heather Mason coordinating the whole event, summarising sessions, etc. So I just want to point out we had health and what we mean by that, Duncan Selby, the CEO of Public Health England, and after the conference I created this sheet for practice managers just to give that kind of national momentum from the conference, including the quotes from Prince Charles, Duncan Selby, and Dr. Michael Dixon, Chair of the College of Medicine. So Duncan Selby said, "The evidence is clear. Yoga is an evidenced intervention and a strengthening activity that we know works. Now is your time." Prince Charles, "The development of therapeutic evidence-based yoga is, I believe, an excellent example of how yoga can contribute to health and well-being." And Dr. Michael Dixon said, "Yoga4Health teachers should keep hammering on the door of practice managers to tell them the benefits of yoga." Okay, and then one other document I want to show you is that when you are qualified and you're running the classes, and you get a copy of this on the training program, we have a 140-page manual for patients. And this covers everything about the program, and it also includes 40 different home practice sequences. So home practice can be done on a mat, or it can be done in a chair. So when we scroll through, you see all these different ways of practicing. So there's a great deal of support. There's also a detailed manual for the teachers, which you get on the course. So we want to feel really well supported. The other thing to say is, because it is actually quite a challenge for everyone, myself included, to get the conversation and get classes going in your area. Once you're through the door and you're talking to the GP practice managers or the GPs, then things become a lot easier. But getting that initial conversation going is a challenge. So I am now tasked with supporting you to do that, and I'm able to deploy a number of resources, including myself calling up the practice managers, but also we have some GPs who are either very supportive of the program or are yoga teachers themselves, and we can use them to call up the GPs, the senior GP at that practice, and basically get the support that way. So one way or another, we will support you to get your classes going. The investment in the training is £500. The guideline cost or the guideline amount that you will be paid for running 10 weeks of 2-hour sessions is £1,000. So that's £100 per session. That reflects a couple of things. One is each session is 2 hours. We're also recognizing that there's quite a lot of legwork to get the session set up. You have to screen each patient. You may have to, in conjunction, in partnership with your local GP practice, take some information from patients, such as a simple online stress and anxiety test, other data, and then take the same data at the end, so we have a measurable result from the program and we can judge the effectiveness of the intervention. The other side of that is that GPs will be able to, and we hope they do this, is to track the patients who have completed the program and see whether their longer term health outcomes in terms of number of appointments declines as a result of this self-care social prescribing project. So where does the money come from? The money will come from either 100% from the patient, so the patients will be referred, but they will have to pay for the program. We have up to 15 patients in a class, so depending on the cost of hiring the venue and costing in things like the patient manuals, you will come up with a price for that. Part of the conversation with the GP practice, particularly if you are delivering this in a deprived area, is to say, well, the people who really need it, won't be able to afford it. So can you please fund 3 to 5 places on each course? Another option is that they might fund the cost of the venue, or they may have a suitable venue if they run a kind of holistic complementary care operation alongside their traditional GP practice. Okay, so that's how it's funded. You're not paid directly by the NHS. You're not employed by the NHS. You're not employed by the GP practice. However, as I mentioned earlier, in the long-term plan, social prescribing, there's funds for that, and every GP practice by the end of 2019 will be have in their employment, or groups of GP practices will have in their employment, a social prescribing link worker. And in the future, that person who's going to coordinate all the social prescribing projects, including access to the Yoga4Health program, when that person is in place all across the country, different people all across the country, it will make our job and your job a lot easier in terms of getting the initial conversation going. Okay, so I hope that has answered many of the common questions about doing the program. If you do the 5-day training, you're joining a community, you're gaining a skill, and you're really helping to create this new segment of general classes for NHS patients with health needs. But these are people who are not chronically ill and who, if they were, would need the one-to-one attention of a yoga therapist. And please remember that a yoga therapist is someone who has a higher level of qualification than you do, or that we are saying you have once you completed this training. It's a separate training, so you do not become a yoga therapist by doing this training. You become a yoga teacher who's able to deliver classes which have a therapeutic value and can meet the needs of these categories of NHS patients who are in danger of becoming chronically ill, but who are not yet there. And just finally, you're also participating in a nationwide project to help the NHS become sustainable in the future, because unless we can get people to self-care, and unless social prescribing really takes off, as we really hope it will, the NHS faces a bleak future of rising demand, an ageing population, ever rising drug bills. In this scenario, we can only make the NHS work if we all support the growth of social prescribing, and yoga has a key role to play in that. Okay, thank you very much for watching.